Good afternoon. I'm not going to introduce myself again. We gone through it yesterday, so I'm just going to start with some notes. In a statement issued early this morning, the Secretary General said that just when it seems there are no words left to describe the living hell in Gaza, a new word has been added: famine. This is not a mystery, he said. It's a man-made disaster, a moral indictment, and a failure of humanity itself. The Secretary General noted that famine is not only about food. It's the deliberate collapse of the systems needed for human survival. He pointed out that people are starving, children are dying, and those with the duty to act are failing. The Secretary General said that as the occupying power, Israel has unequivocal obligations under international law, including the duty of ensuring food and medical supplies of the population. He stressed that we cannot allow this situation to continue with impunity. No more excuses, the Secretary General said, adding that the time for action is not tomorrow, it's now. He emphasized that we need an immediate ceasefire, the immediate release of all hostages, and full unfettered humanitarian access. There have been also several other statements on this, including from our Emergency Relief Coordinator, UN agencies, and our UN High Commissioner for Human Rights. All of those statements and materials are available online. And now on the humanitarian side, our colleagues at the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs remind us again today that civilians are bearing the brunt of this war. As the strikes continue to intensify across the Strip, casualties are flooding hospitals' emergency departments. We and our partners continue to warn of the catastrophic consequences that the intensification of the ongoing offensive in Gaza City would have for civilians. Overnight and into today, multiple strikes were reported in the Jabalia al-Balad and An-Nazla neighborhoods. Our partners monitoring population movements in the Strip say that as a result, about 900 people reportedly left heading towards the Sheikh Radian neighborhoods and western Gaza City. Once again, we remind parties to the conflict of their obligations under international law to protect civilians, including humanitarian workers and those who cannot or choose not to move. As we have said before, those fleeing must be allowed to do safely. They must also be allowed to return if they wish to do so, as the situation allows. OCHA reiterates the urgency of ensuring people have access to aid and basic services, whether they live or stay. Supplies must be allowed to enter Gaza through all available crossings and corridors. We and our humanitarian partners must have safe, predictable, and sustained access to deliver aid at scale to people in immense need of assistance. Our colleagues working on health remind us that nearly half of all hospitals and field hospitals are located in Gaza City and account for 40% of the total inpatient bed capacity in all of the Gaza Strip. Expansion of military operations would further cripple the collapsing healthcare system. Many medical facilities in the south are operating several times over the bed space capacity. Partners stress that access to healthcare must be immediately restored to avert more preventable deaths. And today in Japan, the Secretary General delivered remarks on the occasion of the UN Special Day at the Expo 2025. He said that the United Nations touches our lives every single day, Every day, he said, the UN provides food and assistance to more than 150 million people, supplies vaccines to 45% of the world's children, and supports elections in more than 50 countries. The Secretary General highlights the importance of the reform. He added that he launched the UN 80 initiative to help ensure that the 80th anniversary of the UN is not only a moment of reflection, but a catalyst for reform and renewal. Mr. Guterres visited some pavilions at the Expo 2025, including the UN pavilion, and he expressed his gratitude to the UN staff there and volunteers, as well as to Japan and the host country. He will be back in New York tomorrow, Saturday. And here in New York as well, this morning, Mata Pobi, the Assistant Secretary General for Africa, briefed the Security Council on the situation in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. She noted encouraging progress in recent months, notably the signing of the peace agreement between the DRC and Rwanda, as well as the declaration of principles between the government of the DRC and the M23. She expressed appreciation for all the efforts of the United States and Qatar to bring peace to the DRC. She also noted the efforts of the East African Community, the South African Development Community, and the African Union, adding that the UN is providing support where needed. Regrettably, Mr. Pobi said, the evolution of the security situation on the ground has not matched the progress achieved on the diplomatic front. She told Council members that the number of civilians casualties has risen dramatically. Humanitarian workers are risking their lives to provide limited assistance to a population whose needs continue to grow. Conflict-related sexual violence persists amid general indifference. The forced recruitment of children continues. At this critical moment for the country and the region, Ms. Pobi said it's vital that the Security Council place its full weight behind current peace efforts and exerts its influence to ensure respect for all and compliance with Resolution 2773. All parties must live up to their commitments and obligations. She concluded that while the situation on the ground remains dire, there is every reason to hope that with the genuine engagement of the parties and the concerted support of the international community, peace for the people of the Eastern DRC is possible. And also on the Security Council yesterday afternoon, as you know, there was a briefing on the UN support mission in Libya. Hamatete, the special representative of the Secretary General for Libya and head of the mission, briefed Council members, mentioning that 26 Libyan municipalities successfully went to the polls on 16th of August. In spite of some significant challenges, she called on all candidates to accept the election results as the choices made by their voters. Ms. Tete pointed out that the economic situation in Libya remains dire and the security situation in the country also remains volatile, with increasing militarization of all sides. She urged representatives of both sides to resolve their outstanding issues through dialogue and not to make demands to each other that could amount to provocation. Both remarks have been shared with you, the ones on Libya and also the ones on the DRC. And the World Health Organization and the World Meteorological Organization today published a joint report and guidance highlighting the growing global health challenges posed by extreme heat on workers. The report notes that as climate change drives more frequent and intense heat waves, many workers who are regularly exposed to dangerous heat conditions are already feeling the heat impacts of rising temperatures. WMO noted that 2024 was the hottest year on record. Daytime temperatures of more than 40 degrees Celsius and even above 50 degrees Celsius are becoming increasingly common, a clear indication that immediate action is needed to address the worsening impact of heat stress on workers worldwide. The report is available online. And I have a senior personal announcement for you. Today, the Secretary General is appointing Chalok Beyani of Zambia as the Special Advisor on the Prevention of Genocide. He succeeds Alice Nderitu of Kenya, to whom the Secretary General is grateful for her services. The Secretary General also wishes to extend his appreciation to Virginia Gamba, former Special Representative of the Secretary General for Children in Armed Conflict, and Pramila Patten, Special Representative of the Secretary General on Sexual Violence and Conflict, who have been serving as acting Special Advisor on the Prevention of Genocide. Ms. Patten will continue to serve as acting Special Advisor until Mr. Beyani assumes his position. Currently an associate professor of international law in the Law Department of London School of Economics and Political Science, Mr. Beyani brings practical legal, diplomatic, and political experience in international law and human rights, including national constitutions and treaty making. There's more information online. And I have one last note. We have a couple of international days to flag. Today is the International Day commemorating the victims of acts of violence based on religion or belief. In his message for the day, the Secretary General says that around the world, individuals and communities face violence based on religion or beliefs, stressing that we must confront this threat head-on